to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everybody, you are listening to episode 30, Why Employers Love Emotional Intelligence. Welcome to the show, everyone. It's Lorraine. I hope you're doing wonderful. I'm enjoying the gorgeous fall weather here in Virginia. We're having a hot streak here. It's about 70 degrees in late October, which is pretty normal for Virginia. So I love looking out my window and seeing all those golden leaves. It's wonderful. So wherever you are, thank you for joining me. I hope the view is beautiful wherever you are. And gosh, we have an interesting topic. Today you might be wondering, what the heck is that title all about? Why Employers Love Emotional Intelligence? Well, don't worry. I'm going to explain myself, and I'm so passionate about this topic. So I'm excited to bring this to you. We're going to talk about what the heck it is and what it has to do with your career and your job search and why I'm so passionate about it and think it's so important for everybody because it is. So I'm going to explain myself here. I think you'll find the show very interesting. And as someone who has done and still does hiring as my job, basically, I have to tell you, as time goes on, I become more and more convinced and more passionate about this concept of emotional intelligence and developing it for your career and life success. It is really critical. So if that sounds intriguing, well, stay with me, all right? I've had a string of client successes too at WorkSmart, just to keep you updated. Oh, things are going so well. And it's late October at the time of this taping, and that's typically a time when people say, hiring starts to go down, but I don't know. I disagree. I remember last year as well, I had a number of clients who just continued to have interview requests and get job offers well through the holiday season. So if that is you, if you are looking right now or thinking about looking, do it. The best time to look for a new job is when you are ready to. That's it. Plain and simple. When you are ready to. And before you need one. Ideally, that would be the best thing. But it's truly a wheel that never stops. I don't want you to slow down your efforts just because the holidays are coming up. If there's less people applying, which there often is this time of year, well, then it's easier for you to stand out because there's less applicants. So I am on cloud nine. I'm loving all the success stories and the congratulatory gifts that I've been sending out. About a year ago, I started sending out little edible arrangements and different, nice gifts and stuff like that for clients when they get a job. I just love doing that. I'd love to just churn those out on a weekly basis. So things are going well. I'm always looking for more success stories. If you ever want to go beyond this podcast and work with me, well, it could be you. It's worth the time, it's worth the investment, and it's certainly a new action that you have never taken before, right? So chances are good it'll yield new results. So if you want to do that and you want to know how to find me, of course, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, technically, a little bit, but you can go to my website, worksmartcounseling.com. That's the best place to learn more about me. All right. So on to our strange and intriguing topic today. What is emotional intelligence? Well, simply put, in my opinion, this really is the separating factor between those who are highly successful and those who are not. And that's a big statement. I know it is, and I don't take that lightly. But emotional intelligence absolutely separates the high achievers from the average. It's true. And as I lay out my argument here, I think that you will see why. CEOs of companies hire executive coaches, to coach them through this and help them develop their emotional intelligence. And we'll call it EQ. I'm going to call it EQ throughout the show, just to abbreviate a little bit, kind of like IQ, right? Instead of your intellectual quotient, we're going to be talking today about your emotional quotient, your EQ. And I'm not saying that having a high IQ isn't great and isn't an advantage, because it is, all right? That's got its own value and its own place in the world, but it's in no way an indicator of success all by itself. I really, really believe that. And I know that whatever you lack in maybe knowledge or good grades in school, you can absolutely make up for with grit, with perseverance, curiosity, a desire to learn, and all of those things. All of those traits that I outlined are indicators of emotional intelligence. Okay. So what EQ basically is your soft skills. Okay. It's those kind of intangible skills that we can't really quantify or measure or anything like that. You don't learn them in school. Your communication skills, for example, your relationship building skills, self-awareness. Oh my goodness, that's a huge part of it. That's probably the foundation of it. Do you have self-awareness? Do you realize how you come across to other people? And do you realize what's going on with other people emotionally? Okay. Your ability to learn quickly, take appropriate risks, prioritize well, earn people's trust, and much, much more. These are all intangible, but so critical qualities. And you don't read about them in a book. You don't learn them in school. And that's what makes them so sought after. You kind of have it or you don't, right? But you can develop them, which is the good news. Absolutely. But these are very, very special traits, okay? And you really acquire them through life experience, right? Your life shapes you. And it can shape you in a beautiful way where it develops your EQ. And I really believe this is a marker for true potential. More so, I'm even going to say more so than intellectual intelligence or book smarts, so to speak. Okay. So this is really good news for all you people out there who were not straight A students, or maybe you don't even have a college degree. Maybe you feel like you're lacking in education or knowledge in a certain area. Well, I have good news for you. That's not all employers are looking for, and it's not the end of the story. All right. And if you really hone in on your value and your emotional intelligence, you can position yourself to be incredibly hireable and desirable. What you lack in knowledge or quote hard skills, you can pick up along the way or even be trained on the job. But here's the thing, your next employer isn't going to train you on how to be a better listener or how to handle criticism better or exercise better judgment. They're going to assume that you know how to do those things. You have to already bring those things to the job. And if you have those things, you are much more likely to be coachable and trainable and moldable. All right. You can pick up the knowledge along the way. Knowledge gaps can be filled in so much easier than emotional or maturity gaps. Trust me, your employer doesn't want to bother with those. They want you to come to the table competent already. And competency doesn't mean what you know. It's how you carry yourself, okay? And how you interact with other people, your confidence, your communication, your critical thinking skills, your ability to make decisions, to persevere and not quit, to be proactive. Those are the things that they are looking for. So here's a few other things that EQ can do as well. We also know from a lot of research and just common sense too, that people who understand and manage their own emotions and those of others make better leaders and employees. They do. They're able to deal with stress. They can overcome obstacles, and they can inspire other people to work towards collective goals. They can manage conflict better, work on a team better, and they're generally happier at work, which is not surprising because if you were able to do all of those things that I listed just now, I would imagine you'd be pretty happy at work, right? You'd be performing pretty well. It makes complete sense. So EQ is kind of that intangible it factor that makes people really hireable and really desirable. All right. So here's maybe an example for you of how I've applied this in my own life. So as a coach, I work with people of all different industries. I don't have a niche industry. All right. My niche is more career level. It's not in industry. So I've worked with engineers, CEOs, administrative assistants, teachers, scientists, managers. I worked with a metallurgist. I had to Google that once. I had no idea what that was, a metallurgist. Go Google it. And everybody in between. Do you think I have in-depth knowledge of those professions? No, no way. No one could possibly know about all of those jobs beyond just a basic level. But that doesn't hinder me from working with them and advising them and coaching them. Why? Because what I lack in specialized knowledge in those fields, I can proactively make up for other ways by asking appropriate questions of them to learn what they do, by doing some research ahead of time before their session, maybe so I can understand their line of work better. I don't have to be an expert at every client's job. That's their job, to know how to do what they do. But it's my emotional intelligence, my ability to relate to them, do research, apply logic, common sense, ask the right questions, all of those things that makes me successful in still working with them. Does that make sense? I hope that gives you an illustration. I have the self-awareness to know what I lack in knowledge, and then I find ways to compensate for it and work around it. And that is a marker of success. That enables me to do broader work and not limit myself unnecessarily and say that I can't work with these people or those people because I don't understand what they do. Well, I can begin to understand. I can try. I can make up for it other ways, right? As long as I have the skill to coach them, I can fill in the gaps in my knowledge. All right. So hopefully that gives you a comparison of the EQ versus the IQ and the knowledge versus, the emotional aspect of it. All right. So why does all this matter in the hiring process? What does this have to do with me getting a job, right? Well, we're going to talk about that next. We're going to take a quick commercial break right now. Stay tuned. There is plenty more coming, and I will tell you exactly what this means for you if you are in a job search and what steps you can take to improve your emotional intelligence. We will be right back. While the show takes a short break, I want to tell you how you can work with me personally as your career coach. My signature program, Career Transformation, is perfectly designed for clients who are going through a major career transition. If you're changing fields, returning to the workforce after an absence, or maybe you're undecided on a career path, then this is the program for you. Through the coaching process, we'll gain clarity on your path and craft a job search strategy to support your big career move. If that sounds amazing, take action now by heading over to my website, WorkSmartCounseling.com. That's WorkSmart, COUNSELING.com, to learn more about the Career Transformation Program and apply for a phone call with me. All right, let's get back to the show. And we are back. We are talking about emotional intelligence, this fickle little subject. But when it comes down to the simplest terms, I think being self-aware is the biggest part of it. And being able to manage your own emotions appropriately in a variety of different situations. That's really what the heart of this is. And also being able to recognize and appreciate and manage and respond to the emotions of other people around you, because you do that all day long at work. You really do. You might not think of it that way, but you spend a good part of your day responding to other people, and what they're giving you comes from their emotions in some way. So these concepts also stem from some research that was done not too long ago, I think in 2016 by LinkedIn, and they surveyed a big group globally of hiring managers and asked them, what are some of the top soft skills that you are looking for and that make candidates really desirable? And good news, I'm going to share some of them with you right now. So you'll know what are some of the top soft skills across every industry and location that employers are looking for. And so chances are you have these to a certain degree. If you don't feel like you do, well, now you know what you might need to work on. If you do have them, think of specific examples before you go into an interview of how you have demonstrated these, okay? So let's go through these here kind of quick. Number 1, adaptability. Adaptability is an in-demand skill right now. And this could mean a lot of things. This can mean adaptability to different people. So diversity and inclusion is a big buzzword and a big thing right now. It could mean adapting to new technologies, another big thing right now. Technology is always changing and evolving, so we have to be ready to adapt to that. Or it could just be adapting to shifts within the organization, getting a new boss and restructuring, that type of thing. Whatever the situation, the world needs adaptable people who are comfortable with change and diversity and ambiguity. Is that you? Think of examples of how you've had to adapt to anything, because you have. In every job, you've had to adapt. Prioritization is another one. How do you manage your time? Can you use discretion to prioritize your tasks? Can you handle more than one priority at a time? That's important. Think of it again of specific examples where you have done this, and share the story. Use these skills to kind of create some little career stories that you can share in interviews, all right? And practice them ahead of time. But prioritization, time management, organization, those are important. Leadership is another. And I know this isn't relevant for every single role. Maybe not everyone is a leader. Some people are individual contributors, as we call them. But if you manage people or projects at all, you'll want to work on developing this. Companies are always looking for strong leaders. And there's really no way that you can be one of those strong leaders without developing your soft skills and your EQ. There is no way. That is a marker of a good leader, someone who is incredibly self-aware and aware of others and can work with all different types of people and be adaptable. All right. And communication along those same lines. That's the fourth one. So we have adaptability, prioritization, leadership. We also have communication. Are you a confident communicator? Can you adjust your communication style to fit different people? Can you handle confidentiality? Can you handle criticism? Can you deliver difficult news to people in the right way? In a format that is appropriate? Do you know what's an appropriate type of communication for different situations? These are just a few examples. And then finally, collaboration. Can you work effectively even with people you don't like? I'll never forget, that's an interview question that I have been asked at least once. Tell me about a time when you had to deal with somebody that you didn't like. Because the truth is, we all know that it happens. We're not going to pretend like we like everybody, right? So that's an emotional intelligence question that they're asking. They're trying to figure out, can you adapt and collaborate and work with other people, even if they're different from you or you don't like them? So think about times when you have done this and be prepared to talk about it in interviews. So a lot of interview questions these days, you'll notice, are what we call behavioral interview questions. So they're situational, and they ask you to reach back in your past and give an example of something. Tell me about a time when your boss gave you negative feedback. How did you handle that criticism or something like that? Or how did you deal with the person you didn't like? Or tell me about a time when you had difficulty communicating with someone. All of those behavioral questions, they're getting at your emotional intelligence. They don't call it that, but that is what they're digging for. And that is what they're assessing you on in the interview. Because that's when they actually get to meet you and look at your body language and your eye contact and your confidence level and your communication style. That's what they're assessing in the interview. I'm busting the myth. It's not anything other than your emotional intelligence. And that's why this is so critical for you if you are looking for work. So speaking of that, so we ran through some of the top skills. They were adaptability, prioritization, leadership, communication, and collaboration. And that's just some examples. But here's my final advice on this topic, and maybe this will surprise you. Now that you are well equipped here, okay, and you know what EQ is, and I've given you a number of examples, I'm actually going to tell you not to go sprinkle them all over your resume and not to go writing all over your resume all of these things like team player, and excellent verbal communication skills and all those contrived phrases that people put on resumes. I mean, a little bit of that here and there is tolerable, but don't go sprinkling that all over your resume, please. Here's why. Remember that I said that these are intangible skills. They cannot be demonstrated on a piece of paper, and that's what your resume is. They cannot be proven that way. So don't overdo it with grandiose adjectives and $5 words and soft skills all over the resume, all right? It just comes off as fake and hollow. Save all of that for the interview and just go into the interview and demonstrate who you are and your communication, your personality, your motivation, all of those things. They can measure those things in an interview. They cannot on the resume. So don't even go there, all right? Because anybody can write on their resume, team player, excellent communicator. There's no way to prove it. It's a piece of paper. But you can prove it when you meet someone and they interact with you and they can evaluate you that way. So remember that that's what the interview is evaluating. Totally different from what the resume is evaluating. The resume is more about, do you have the right degree? How many years of experience do you have? Do you have the certification? Just more factual hard skills. Okay. So I hope that helps you a little bit. I want you to really keep emotional intelligence in the back of your mind and think about how you come across to other people and how you can develop these qualities. And think of examples of how you've already demonstrated them and be ready in an interview to show them, because that is what employers are looking for. Somebody likable, somebody that they can work with, that they can mold and they can train. Okay. All right, guys, that's it. That's it. These episodes are going by so fast. That was episode 30. As always, if you like what you hear, if anything on the show resonates with you, I always have a standing invitation for you to connect with me, see if you want to work with me, take things a little bit further. Action is what gets results in life. It's the only thing that's ever gotten me any results. That's for sure. If you need help developing your emotional intelligence and applying these concepts or maybe improving your interview skills, well, good news. That's what I do. I'll make you into a rock star. All right. So, and maybe we'll even do one of those career counseling assessments that I do so we can uncover what some of your strengths are. Okay. We all love to learn about ourselves, right? That's always our favorite subject is ourselves. But if you have a career question too that you'd like answered on the show or you want to be coached on the air, email me at Lorraine@careeruprising.com. I'd love to hear from you, and whatever you need, I've got your back, guys. Okay? I'll be back soon with a fresh topic. Go out there, guys. Be brave, be magnificent. I love you, and I will talk to you next time. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show was brought to you by InflowRadio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.